answer for the question that Peter proposed to him.
And the Lord said, Who then is the faithful and wise steward, whom his Lord shall make ruler over his household, to give them their portion of meat in due season?
So he answered the question. He said, okay, I'll answer your question with a question. Who is the wise servant that will be doing the work that I will make ruler over mine? And then he answered, verse 43.
Blessed is that servant whom is the Lord's, when he cometh shall find so doing.
So he's saying, listen, this ain't just for preachers. This ain't just for apostles and prophets. This ain't just for bishops and evangelists and teachers. Whoever is supposed to be doing what Christ told them to do, blesses that servant when I come back. So if he told you to sweep up the church, and he comes back and that church swept, you good. If he told you to grow food in your community and make sure you take care of the homeless, and you do that, you good. If he told you to serve your pastor and be there for them and do the things that they need and help them out and assist them, and you do that, you good. Whatever it is that he told you to do, when Christ comes back and you're doing it, blesses that servant. Not just the special people that the church want to honor. Everybody. Everybody that's doing what he told them to do is going to be blessed. Verse 44.
Of a truth I say unto you, that he will make him ruler over all that he hath.
This is why he tells us, and you see when we stand before Christ, he said, enter in. He said, thou good and thou faithful servant. He said, you was faithful over a few things, but I'm going to make you ruler over many. Which tells us that a lot of things we're going to miss. A lot of things we're not going to come up to the point. But he says, because you do the few things that I told you to do, I'm going to make you rule over many. And that goes to anybody who does what they're supposed to do. Verse 45.
And if that servant say in his heart, My Lord delayeth his coming, and shall begin to beat the men servants and maidens, and to eat and drink, and to be drunken.
So he's saying right now, but if there's another servant that I done called to start a church, and he out there taking advantage of the members and gassing them up for their money, and playing them in front of the church, and calling them out, and doing all kind of things to hurt them, get drunk every day. That doesn't mean that you can't drink, but he's saying you out there, every time you're supposed to be doing work, you somewhere with a bottle thrown back. Every time you're supposed to be praying and seeking the Most High, you're focusing on feeding your own flesh. What did he say going to happen to that guy in verse 47?
The Lord of that servant will come in a day when he looketh not for him, and at an hour when he is not aware, he will cut him in sunder, and will appoint him his portion with the unbelievers.
With the unbelievers. That is very key. Notice how Christ has separated the fact that the people that he's talking to are believers. This will be your modern day church folks. The world want to make it think like, it's going to just be unbelievers that's going to suffer. It's going to be people who don't never accept Christ. But you see right here, Christ is saying, that person that I told to go do something, and they sat in the church for all their years and didn't go and do what I told them in this word, you're going to be put right there with the unbelievers. It's funny how that verse right there is never read in church. They want to tell you, listen, just hold on and hold out and just make it to heaven. Just make sure you send up the timber. When Christ's saying here that if you ain't doing what I told you to do when I come for you, you're going with the unbelievers. So my Deacon Parsons used to say, and our church used to say, if you're going to go to hell, don't go to hell in a Hugo, go to hell in a brand new Cadillac. So what that means is, if you're not going to serve the Most High with the fullness of your heart, then why are you wasting your time in the church? If you're not going to do what he told you to do and take advantage of all that he has given you, then why are you wasting your time in the church? If you're not going to be salt and light in the community and go out and retrieve our people, restore our people, then what is the purpose of you having fringes on, Israelite? What is the point of, if you're not going to walk in love and be a light to your people as well as the Gentiles, then what is the point of you walking around posting on social media today that you're Israelite? This ain't no new Black Panther Party movement here. This is kingdom business that the Most High has called us to do here. And today's lesson is entitled, "To much is given, much is required." Now, Verse 47.
And that servant which knew the Lord's will and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes.
You sit in these churches and you hear this word, because every pastor ain't out here doing fake business. Majority of the pastors are doing what's supposed to be done. And when somebody coming across you and saying, like, bro, you need to get back to the law, statutes, and commandments. And you just keep on eating unclean food. You keep on breaking the Sabbath. You keep on doing the things that he told you not to do. He said you're going to be beat with many stripes. Notice this Christ right here is never talked about in the church. They tell you that Christ loves everybody. He's understanding. He's going to let you in. Don't worry about it. It's going to be okay. No, that ain't what Christ said here. Read that verse for them again. Con, bro. Con.
And that servant which knew the Lord's will and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes.
Beat with many stripes. This is Christ. It's in your Bible, right? It's in red. Christ saying, if I send a preacher your way to tell you the truth, if I send a prophet your way to declare it, if I send a man or woman of God into your community and lay out the truth of this law, and you didn't do it, if I put a purpose on your life and I sent some people for you to win, and you didn't do it, you're going to be beat with many stripes. If you knew that the things that you're supposed to be standing for were the things of God, but you wanted to be popular on social media and you wanted to be popular in your community, so you're going out there standing in the rallies and you're standing with the people who saying they're against God, and you're that guy. You're taking your time with the word instead of giving people the truth, hyping them up so some people can love you and give you money. You're going to be beat with many stripes. Too much is given, much is required. Verse 48.
But he knew not, and did commit things worthy of stripes, shall be beaten with few stripes.
So he's saying, for those Gentiles, for those people that's in the world who are breaking the law and doing those things, but they didn't know, they're going to get few stripes. For those people that was in the church and nobody was giving them the truth, nobody gave them the opportunity, they're going to get few stripes. But notice, they're still going to get stripes. What was the rest of that verse?
For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. And to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more.
They will ask the more. I hope this is sinking into our people today. I hope that we're getting an understanding of what the Most High is talking about here. He called us to be a special people. He said we're going to be above all nations. He gave us the law. He gave us the statutes. He gave us the commandments. He visited no other nation. He raised up prophets on Israel, no other nation. He gave us the swag. He gave us the talent. He gave us the gift. He gave us the word. He gave us the calling. He gave us the covenant. And for us to just take it and use it for granted, many stripes is coming. Unless we turn and repent and go back to the Father. Today's lesson, too much is given, much is required. Now let's go back. Let's go to Exodus 32nd chapter. Now, what we're about to do right now is we're about to take a walk through the Old Testament. We're not going to be able to go over everything, but we're going to give you a little synopsis of the grace of the Most High. Because the Christian church has presented the Old Testament in a way that is really damaging to the credibility of the Most High. I heard a preacher say the other day, a Gentile preacher, and I like the guy, don't get it twisted. And I know his statement that he made was out of ignorance. He was talking about the Jewish people. Of course, he doesn't know that, who the real Israel is. Hopefully, he knows how to open his eyes to see that. And he made a statement. He said, I love the Jewish people. I pray for the Jewish people. And I give it to the Jewish people. And we all did that. When we thought that they was Israel, me and my father has been given to Israel and praying for Israel our entire walk with Christ. Because that's what the Most High said we were supposed to do. Never knew that we were actually Israel. Right? And the guy said, He said, I love them and I love all they have done for the world. He said, but I don't want to have to follow their laws. That's all the laws that they have. So I'm just going to follow the one. When Christ said, love, you shall know love. He said that they shall know you if you love one another as I love you. What the Most High says in John 13, verse 34-35. So he believes that the only commandment that he has to follow is that one. Where they do that at? Okay? But see, he's not responsible for that. You know why? Because the Most High didn't visit his nation. He didn't even visit Europe. He says he's Italian. He didn't visit Italy. All right? He visited Israel. So that guy is not going to be held accountable for what we're going to be held accountable for. So this is why this is the awakening for our people to understanding. Too much is given, much is required. Now we're going to start here in Exodus 32nd chapter. We're going to try to move along as fast as possible.